Greetings to my dear friends and family, or anyone who's watching this. So, yeah, before we get to the book of Jonah, to do chapter 1 and 2, let's try to get in mind, like, where the time of Jonah, like, when was that? So, he lived for 10 years, being a prophet, doing his work. I mean, he probably lived longer than 10 years, but his major contribution for the kingdom is being God's prophet for 10 years. But within those 10 years, he lived during the king of Israel. Well, it's the time of divided kingdom. There's the northern kingdom, that's Israel, and the southern kingdom, Judah. So, the King Jeroboam II. It seems that God gave Israel one last chance under King Jeroboam II. This king ruled a strong and prosperous nation. The Bible gives scant mention of his reign, but it lasted 41 years, during which Israel recovered nearly all its former territory. The prophet Jonah lived then, probably assisting the king in his frontier defense against Assyria. In addition, Amos and Hosea were active, rallying against the terrible social and religious corruption of those affluent times. In a remarkable turn of events, Israel thrived as a nation for only a few decades after the stable period. You can read about that history in 2 Kings chapter 14, verses 23 to 29. Anyways, I'm going to show you, as we begin the story of Jonah, that he left some, let me think. It says that he, so we'll read about him running away from the Lord and heading to a Tarshish. I don't know where that is, but there's a map that shows where he ran off to the coastal town, city of Joppa. Let me show it to you. Oh, this map is land of 12 tribes. That's before Jonah's time, but, the 12 men who split off and have their own kingdom, I guess. But apparently, I guess wherever he was at, Jonah, was not that far from running. I don't know where he was at, but wherever he was, he ran all the way to this coastal city, Joppa, right there, along the Great Sea, Over there, toward that direction is Africa, up north-ish is where Europe is, so, yeah. So, let's get to it. Chapter 1. Let's see. Jonah flees from the Lord. The word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah ran away from the Lord, headed for Tarshish. He went down to Joppa, where he found a ship bound for that port. After praying the fare, he went aboard and sailed for Tarshish to flee from the Lord. So he was Joppa in the air, then he go to Tarshish. And then the Lord sent a great wind on the sea. Such a violent storm arose that the ship threatened to break up. All the sailors were afraid, and each cried out to his own God, and they threw the cargo into the sea to lighten the ship. But Jonah had gone below deck, where he lay down and fell into deep sleep. The captain went to him and said, "How can you sleep? Get up and call on your God. Maybe he will take the notice of us, and we will not perish." That passage reminds me of the time, if you go to New Testament, actually Jesus did fall asleep below deck, and there was a horrible storm happening, and the disciples went down and wake up Jesus saying, "How can you sleep in time like this? Save us!" kind of thing. It's really funny how, yeah, maybe this what happened to Jonah coincidentally happened to Jesus too. But it's a story of faith too, about like when the storm's happening, where is your eye supposed to be at? Okay, let's go back to the story. Then the sailors said to each other, "Come, let us cast lots to find out who is responsible for this calamity." They cast lots, and lot fell on Jonah. So they asked him, "Tell us, who is responsible for making all this trouble for us? What do you do? Where do you come from? What is your country? From what people are you?" He answered, "I am a Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the land." This terrified him, and they asked, "What have you done?" They knew he was running away from the Lord because he had already told them so. The sea was getting rougher and rougher, so they asked him, "What should we do to you to make the sea calm down for us?" "Pick me up and throw into the sea," he replied. "It will become calm. I know that it is my fault that this great storm has come upon you." Instead, the men did their best to row back to land, but they could not, for the sea grew even wilder than before. Then they cried out to the Lord, "O Lord, please do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing an innocent man. For you, O Lord, have done as you pleased." Then they took Jonah and threw him overboard, and the raging sea grew calm. At this, the man greatly feared the Lord, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows to him. But the Lord provided a great fish to swallow Jonah. Jonah was inside the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Chapter 2. This is Jonah's prayer. From inside the fish, Jonah prayed to the Lord, his God. He said, "In my distress, I called to the Lord, and he answered me. From the depth of the grave, I called for help, and he listened to my cry. You hauled me into the very heart of the seas, and the currents swirled about me. All your waves and breakers swept over me. I said, I have been banished from your sight, yet I will look again toward your holy temple." The engulfing waters threatened me. The deep surrounded me. Seaweed was wrapped around my head. To the roots of the mountains I sank down. The earth beneath buried me in forever. But you brought my life up from the pit, O my God. When my life was ebbing away, I remembered you, Lord, and my prayers rose to you, to your holy temple. Those who cling to the worthless idols forfeit the grace that could be theirs. But I, with a song of thanksgiving, will sacrifice you. What I vowed, I will make good. Salvation comes from the Lord. And the Lord commanded the fish, and it vomited Jonah onto dry land. Wow. Even when Jonah's life was threatened, he's out in the sea and there's crazy, craziness happening. In his prayer, did he blame God? Oh no. It says right here, "In my distress, I called to the Lord, and he answered me. From the depths of the grave, I called for help, and you listened to my cry." He's still trusting the Lord, even though he's like in the water. It's like, will he drown? Will he die? Who knows what's going to happen to him? He's thinking. But the Lord did answer. He sent a big sperm whale over and swallowed up Jonah, who somehow survived in the belly in the stomach of this whale for 3 days, 3 nights. Well, it's a fish in the Lord to make him survive that. Well, I did in the introduction say that there is a story. Where was it again? As in just at least one reliable account is this of a man swallowed by a sperm whale and later found alive in the whale's stomach. It could be Jonah was found in the whale's stomach, or some other story, and then could be, who knows if this is real or not. But all I know that Jonah tried to run away from his calling, because God called him to go to Nineveh to share the message, to give which the message give hope and give a chance for the Ninevian people to, or Ninevites they call, to repent and come to the Lord. He hated the people of Nineveh for some reason. We don't know the clear story, but perhaps wherever history back and forth between the Israelites and the Ninevites history, which I think I'll go into that another day, but not today. Anyways, so yeah, I'm learning more about history along the way by reading this book. Like, oh, this is interesting. Maybe I'm older now, and before I was younger, I was like focused on learning about certain things in the Bible. And now I'm older, like, I don't know, it's something about history and like what's going on, like what people, of faith and how they struggled, and storms came to life. They still hold on to the Lord. They say, God, I trust you, even though I don't know what's going on. I trust you through this storm. And God will answer in His timing, whatever that is. Yeah, it just inspires me, So, he had those 3 days and 3 nights to think about, I was wrong about not listening to God. So God saw inside his heart that his heart has changed and that he's ready to go to do his calling. That's why the Lord let the whale split Jonah out of the stomach. It could be in a real well or just a philosophical place, a time when Jonah was isolated from everyone else, a place that he could only hear quiet, and he was so still in those 3 days, 3 nights that he was able to communicate with the Lord, and the Lord communicated to him. And so, yeah, that's what I learned. What have you learned from chapter 1 and 2? Anyway, so chapter 3 and 4 upcoming for another day. So I hope you enjoyed reading with me. If you have the book Bible with you in front of you, a physical Bible or a smartphone Bible, or on your iPad while you're watching us on smartphone. I don't know how you're watching this. Anyways, so yeah, I feel blessed by sharing my passion about learning more from the Bible. And yeah, there's people out there like, Bible's made of men. They're so biased, blah, blah, blah. I hear them, but you know what? I believe the men who wrote in the Bible, because the Bible is made of multiple writers and authors over the many generations, thousands and thousands of years to come up, But I believe those men actually faithfully followed the Lord, and the heart was pure to follow God, that God communicate and write. Of course, they show in the historical parts about where the people were at and what kind of the Israelites' culture, but also the Jewish culture of the time, but also the cultures around them, other people, and how they, and you know how God is. He's a jealous God in some ways. Like, do not follow if you follow God, the Christian God or Jewish God, like, do not have any idols above me, because I am God. I am the one you need to worship. That's His edit, and we follow, So, yeah. Anyways, thank you for listening. God bless you. And see you next time for chapter 3 and 4 of the book of Jonah.